We have with us Angela Robb, who is a caregiver, spouse, and also PAN's Virginia State Director, which she does a wonderful job. Welcome, Angela. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Amy.
Can we start about talking about your role as caregiver and what that means to you and how it's affected your life decisions in terms of work and your relationship with Carl? Just give us a little intro about this.
Well, actually, Amy, I consider myself a care partner, not a caregiver, because at this time in our life together, we made a mutual decision to be partners in living with Parkinson's disease, but also taking care of each other, no matter what the situation, whether it be health-related or otherwise. So I really do consider myself a care partner. And I've known Carl the whole time that I've known him since 1995. He's actually been diagnosed. So I met him post-diagnosis, and I've never known Carl without Parkinson's disease. And I loved him in spite of the illness. So there was never a time in our dating time that I would not have thought to be with him because I love the man, not the illness. Parkinson's is a part of our life, but it's not the whole of our lives. And with regard to our life together, we made a decision early on. I quit my corporate job in order for us to be in business together. So we work together and we live together and we share our life together and we advocate together. And it's really a mutual partnership between the two of us. So Parkinson's is there, but it's not the whole of our lives, and we still live like everybody else does and enjoy travel and all the other outings that everybody else does. But it is there, and we do have to make adjustments on a daily basis. If the medication isn't working or it's working too well, then we do that. But we are active in our local support group. I am active with local caregivers in support, and I do advocate on part of the Parkinson's Action Network at a local level and then a state level and a national level.
When you say you're active in the community with other caregivers, can you talk a little bit about what that is, what that means? Does that provide support for other caregivers, or what are your activities?
I meet on a fairly regular basis with some local care partners. We get together for coffee and support each other. We laugh a lot. We do also share our challenges and struggles. We share resources. I'm also a co-facilitator with my husband Carl in our local support group, which is for people with Parkinson's and care partners or family members or people in the community who are affected by Parkinson's disease. So I meet with care partners through that. They provide me as much support as I do. I provide support to them, because the sharing of resources and the sharing of information, although every Parkinson's care partner journey is different, we do have commonalities, and really I think it's that kind of community support that is vital to everybody finding the support that they need.
I love the fact that you push that it's a partnership, not just a one-way relationship, which caregiver does imply. What advice do you have for someone to shift their thinking into that way? Caregiver does really imply that one person is tending for the other and that it's a one-way street. But if that's how someone's been viewing it, what can you suggest to them to think of it as more of a two-way street, and that the person they're caring for needs to participate in these decisions?
Well, I think it could start right away. I mean, certainly I'm a little different than most folks because I did meet Carl after the diagnosis of Parkinson's, so he dealt with the diagnosis by himself and with his family, and I came later on. But I really think it's a communication, having an open, honest communication as a couple that would really be a significant force in living with Parkinson's disease. You know, I guess when we all get married, we take vows that we're going to be partners, you know, through thick and thin, through richness and poorness and sickness and health. But I guess some people forget the vows and don't actually have the conversation about living together. And there's no set agenda for life. You know, everybody thinks they have control over what's going to happen in their lives, but anything can happen to anyone, anytime. So it's having that conversation even before Parkinson's diagnosis would be important. How you're going to take care of your children if you have children? How are you going to take care of your older parents? How are you going to take care of each other? The self-care component, I think, is a key communication that happens. And it needs to happen between the person with Parkinson's and their loved ones. You know, how are the loved ones going to take care of themselves and not be consumed by the caregiver or care partner role? So I think that's vitally important, because it's the health of the people together and the family as a whole that really is going to get them through living with Parkinson's disease.
Have you in Virginia looked into or tried to take advantage of any local or state programs for care partners?
I haven't personally myself, but I've watched some of the caregivers and care partners that are in my community deal with that. Many of them have had to look for adult daycare options for their loved one, especially if they're dealing with a loved one who has a lot of cognitive dysfunction, not just motor dysfunction. So they need someone to take care and watch over their loved one, and many of them are still working, so they really don't want to leave their loved one at home by themselves. They need to find someone who can manage their medications and make sure they get them in a timely manner, but also make sure that they don't do anything to damage themselves or damage their home. So it's really important that we have well-known resources for these folks, because a lot of care partners have trouble even hiring somebody to come into the home, and they're not sure exactly how to do that. So having assistance with that is important. Also for people who are living with young onset Parkinson's disease, you know, they may be afflicted before retirement age, so then it's the financial struggle of finding someone to come in the home or finding a placement at a local facility. That struggle, financial planning is a large component where people need a lot of help as well. So it's consuming for the person who's still working and trying to keep the health insurance and keep their job and take care of their loved one and possibly their children that are still at home. So it's a delicate balance, and the more we can support care partners or caregivers that are dealing with that, the better off they're going to be in the long run.
In your conversations with other care partners in the support groups and otherwise, do you think that there's sufficient familiarity with what is available from state and local governments, or do you think that we could do better at promoting, granted there probably aren't enough programs, but promoting the programs that are out there?
I think promoting the programs would be a much better way to get the word out, especially for those folks, like I said, who are dealing with young onset Parkinson's, who may be debilitated before the age of 60 and need information about how to file for long-term disability, how to get assistance at home, how to balance the financial concerns of their children, who, whether they're still at home or in college, and plus the financial needs of this additional care. I think that's vitally important. A lot of care partners really aren't sure where to turn, especially since many of these agencies are dealing with people who are over the age of 65, and they're not quite sure how to deal with someone who's in their 50s living with Parkinson's disease. So I think education, more information, more brochures or pamphlets that could help them navigate through this would be vitally important. And a lot of times many of these care partners have never had to deal with any of these types of issues. So really it's an indoctrination by fire, you know, because the situation gets so, can be so critical so quickly. We really need to provide additional information to those in the community to find the right resources.
In addition to your care partner role with Carl, do you find that the physicians, either the ones Carl sees, you know, don't need to name any names, but who your care partner friends see, do neurologists reach out to the care partner as well as part of the Parkinson's experience and focus on how you're doing?
Yes and no. There are some wonderful neurologists and movement disorder specialists and staff in these offices who understand and can support the care partner role. They'll listen and take advice from the care partner and look to them as part of the team. I'm sad to say that doesn't happen often enough, and we really need to have that more, because the care partner sees the person living with Parkinson's on a daily basis, whether it's a medication side effect or it's another symptom of Parkinson's that appears. They're really tuned into what's happening. Even the patient might be in denial about something happening with them, but the care partner will notice it. And sometimes care partners I've met have actually scheduled an additional appointment with the doctor by themselves to meet with the doctor or the nurse or a social worker to talk about some of the additional symptoms or side effects of the medications that are occurring. But certainly I would like to think that all doctors see a care partners or caregivers as part of the team, because they really are, they have very important information to share, and we should include them in every and any point in the treatment of the person living with Parkinson's.
So that's something we should push people to do.
We should.
As a final wrap-up question, your very important role as PAN Virginia State Director, how has being a care partner influenced that work, or vice versa?
Well, I've always had an affinity for being an advocate from early on in my studies in college, but I certainly found it came in handy when I became a part of this community. I think being an advocate is a very important role, because there's so many care partners or caregivers who can't advocate for themselves. So I feel like it's my role to share my experiences, but also to speak for those who maybe can't speak for themselves. Maybe they can't travel to the forum, or they are in their local support group and they share information with me at a meeting. I'm happy to share their experiences with others, but I certainly would encourage all care partners to get involved, because they have an important story to tell. Their personal story is vital, because otherwise these officials, local, state and local and federal officials, won't understand what challenges are involved in daily caregiving. There are so many caregivers who are quiet and don't talk about what they need, and we really need to make sure that they're getting the level of support from us on all levels to adequately take care of themselves, but also their loved one living with Parkinson's disease. Self-care is vitally important, and I know I struggle with it on a daily basis myself. So I really would encourage care partners to be involved, not only with their doctors and neurologists, but also with their local officials, and telling their family and friends what really is going on, so that they can get the support they need.
Not keep the issue hidden.
Yes, this is not a quiet disease. We really need to let people know how it impacts our lives, and then also get the support we need.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Angela. That was a very interesting conversation. We appreciate your coming.
Well, thanks for having me, Amy.